Imagine being so in sync with the divine, so attuned to the heartbeat of the universe that miracles become your everyday reality. Today, we delve into the life of Elijah, a man who walked so intimately with God that the extraordinary became the norm. He raised the dead, called down fire from heaven, and his prayers were answered with divine power. As penned in 1 Kings 18:36-38, Elijah prayed, and fire fell from heaven. What secrets allowed Elijah to walk so closely with God? What can we learn from his life? Elijah's first secret: complete obedience. He was a man who listened to God's voice and followed his commandments, no matter the cost. Let's delve into this a bit further, shall we? Obedience played a crucial role in Elijah's life. It was his compass, guiding him through life's tumultuous seas. His obedience was not contingent on his circumstances, it was unwavering, absolute. He followed God's commands even when it seemed illogical, unreasonable, or downright dangerous. This was not blind obedience, but a conscious choice, born out of trust and faith. Consider this instance from the Bible, a powerful testament to Elijah's obedience. In the book of 1 Kings chapter 17 verses 2-5, God commanded Elijah to hide by the brook Cherith. Now this command came at a time of severe drought, a period of scarcity. Yet Elijah did not question God's command. He did not ponder over its rationale or feasibility. He simply obeyed. He went and dwelt by the brook Cherith, relying on ravens for his sustenance. What can we learn from Elijah? His obedience was not a result of fear, but a product of his faith. He trusted in God's wisdom, believed in his plans. His obedience wasn't merely about following commands. It was about aligning his will with God's will. It was about surrendering his desires, his plans, his very life to God. Elijah's obedience was not a passive act. It was active, dynamic. Every moment of obedience was a moment of active faith, a moment of conscious surrender. It was a dance with the divine, a beautiful symphony of faith and trust. Elijah's obedience teaches us that our relationship with God is not a one-way street. It's a dynamic, reciprocal relationship. It's about listening and responding, about trust and surrender. It's about aligning our will with God's will, about following his commands even when it's challenging, even when it's uncomfortable, even when it defies logic. Elijah's obedience was his secret to a deep, intimate walk with God. He demonstrates that obedience is not just about following rules. It's about cultivating a relationship with the divine. It's about love, trust, and surrender. Obedience might seem simple, yet it's a powerful key to walking with God. Elijah's second secret: a fervent prayer life. He knew the power of prayer and used it to connect deeply with God. Elijah's life was a testament to the potency of prayer. He was a man of great faith, yes, but it was his consistent and fervent connection with God through prayer that truly set him apart. He understood that prayer was more than just a ritual or a plea for help. It was a profound and intimate communication with the divine. Delving into the scriptures, we see how significant prayer was in Elijah's life. The book of James, chapter 5, verses 16-18, paints a vivid picture of this. The passage reads, "The prayer of a righteous person is powerful and effective." Elijah was a human being, even as we are. He prayed earnestly that it would not rain, and it did not rain on the land for 3.5 years. Again he prayed, and the heavens gave rain, and the earth produced its crops. This scriptural evidence is a testament to the power of Elijah's prayers. His earnest entreaties were not only heard, but also answered in remarkable ways. The heavens closed at his prayer, and opened again when he called. His prayer life was indeed powerful and effective, altering the natural elements and shaking the foundations of the earth. But what made his prayers so potent? It wasn't just his righteousness or his faith. It was his heart, aligned with God's will. He prayed not for his desires, but for God's desires to be fulfilled. That's the secret. Prayer is not just about asking God for things. It's about aligning our hearts with his. It's about seeking his will above our own, and trusting that he knows what's best for us. It's about communicating with God, understanding his nature, and immersing ourselves in his love. This was the secret of Elijah's prayer life. It was a lifeline, a steady stream of communication that kept him connected to God. It was his source of strength, guidance, and comfort, and it is available to each one of us. Prayer is not just about asking God for things. It's about aligning our hearts with his. Elijah's third secret: unwavering faith. He trusted God even when circumstances seemed impossible. This was a man who truly walked with God, not by sight, but by faith. Consider the story of Elijah on Mount Carmel, as recounted in the book of 1 Kings chapter 18, verses 22 to 39. Here, Elijah found himself standing alone against 450 prophets of Baal. He was outnumbered, outpowered in terms of human strength. Yet, Elijah remained steadfast, confident not in his own power, but in the power of his God. In this dramatic showdown, Elijah challenged the prophets of Baal to call upon their God to set a bull on fire. The prophets called and cried, danced and cut themselves, but Baal remained silent. Then it was Elijah's turn. He prepared his bull, but he did something the prophets of Baal didn't. He drenched his offering, and the altar, and even the surrounding ground with water, making it seemingly impossible for anything to catch fire. But then Elijah prayed. He didn't shout or dance or cut himself. He simply prayed, expressing his unwavering faith in God. And God answered. Fire fell from heaven, consuming the bull, the wood, the stones, the dust, and even the water in the trench around the altar. What was the secret behind this miraculous event? It was Elijah's faith. Despite the impossible circumstances, Elijah believed in the power of God. He believed, so he saw the glory of God in action. Elijah's life is a testament to the power of faith. When we trust in God, even in seemingly impossible situations, God honors our faith. Our faith doesn't have to be big or grand. It just needs to be like Elijah's, steadfast, unwavering, and focused on God. Faith isn't about seeing and then believing, it's about believing and then seeing. This was the secret of Elijah's faith, and it can be ours too if we choose to walk with God in unwavering faith. Elijah's fourth secret, humility. Despite his powerful miracles, Elijah remained humble, acknowledging that the power was not his but God's. Humility, a virtue often overlooked, yet it holds immense power. Elijah, despite his extraordinary encounters with God, never allowed his experiences to inflate his ego. He was always grounded, always aware that the miracles he performed were not of his doing, but were manifestations of God's power. Let's journey back to a time in Elijah's life when his humility was truly tested. This particular instance can be found in the book of 1 Kings chapter 19 verse 4. Here we find Elijah, not basking in the glory of his victories, but in a moment of despair. He had fled from Jezebel's threats and found himself in the wilderness, alone and afraid. In his anguish, he cried out to God, "It is enough. Now, O Lord, take away my life, for I am no better than my fathers." In this raw, vulnerable moment, Elijah acknowledged his weakness. He didn't see himself as superior or immune to human frailty. Instead, he saw himself as he truly was, a mere mortal, no better than his ancestors. It was his humility that allowed him to admit this, to cry out to God in his time of need. And God, in his infinite mercy, did not abandon Elijah in his moment of despair. Instead, he sent an angel to comfort and strengthen him. This incident serves as a poignant reminder that humility is not a sign of weakness, but of strength. It's the ability to admit our shortcomings, to recognize our limitations, and depend on God for strength and guidance. Elijah's life teaches us that humility is a vital component of a spiritual journey. It keeps us grounded, reminds us of our dependence on God, and prevents us from becoming prideful or arrogant. It's a virtue that, when genuinely embraced, can transform our lives and deepen our relationship with God. Humility is not thinking less of ourselves, but thinking of ourselves less. Elijah's life is a testament to the power of walking closely with God. As we near the end of our journey today, let's reflect on the secrets that made Elijah's relationship with God so powerful. Firstly, Elijah's obedience to God's will, even when it seemed impossible, set him apart. He followed God's commandments with unwavering commitment, showing us that obedience is key to a close walk with the divine. Secondly, Elijah's prayer life was extraordinary. He understood that prayer isn't just a ritual, but a conversation with God, a lifeline connecting our spirit to the divine. He teaches us that through consistent, heartfelt prayer, we can foster a deeper connection with God. Thirdly, Elijah's faith was unshakable. Even in the face of adversity, he trusted God's plan for him. This immense faith allowed him to perform miracles and stand firm in his convictions. Elijah's life serves as a reminder that faith isn't just about believing in God, but also believing in his plan for us. Lastly, Elijah's humility is a lesson for us all. Despite being a prophet, he recognized his place before God and humbly submitted to his will. He teaches us that humility isn't about thinking less of ourselves, but about recognizing God's greatness. As we strive to walk closer with God, let us remember the life of Elijah and the secrets he left behind for us. Let's embody obedience, enrich our prayer life, strengthen our faith, and embrace humility. After all, the journey starts with a single step: